Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the OK Grognard Show. It is Tuesday, September 15th, 2020, 9:30 a.m. Central, 9:35, 6, 7, what? 9:30 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Well, it is a Tuesday, and that means it's a world building and cartography day. And again, it's been a little while since I've done anything on cartography, I guess, huh? So, checking out more world building stuff today in the old dungeon dressings department. Is that Appendix I? Aye, Captain. What do we got here? Yeah, there we are. There's the mug. Dungeon Master's Guide. Original plus advanced, as I've always said. We started with original, so as we were getting our first edition books, we were incorporating this stuff as much as we liked at the time, which was most of it, eventually all of it. And we wouldn't even bring our little booklets, our 3 little booklets to game nights anymore. We would just play with the 3 advanced core books. And that was good, but that didn't happen overnight. Sure, it was easy to put the monsters in 77, and then Player's Handbook was welcome because players always want more options. They are. What's the old saying? You can. No, that's not an old saying. Options, options, options for players. But then the DMG was a revelation for myself and for everybody else who ran games in our group, which was not just our main guy, but several others who would run them from time to time. Some people that played with us played with other groups as well, and there they were the primary DM, even if they mostly played in our group. And that was cool too. I think, it always surprised me. Here's an interesting thought about back then. When people would take characters from game to game to game. Hey, I've got this. What level characters do you use? Well, I've got this character. I built him up for years, and I know other people did that. Plenty of people did it. But we were always of a mind that if a character was in a game world, tied to a game world, if you weren't playing in that game world, you didn't use that character. They just set them aside, doing much like if you put a bookmark in a novel you're reading and set it aside until you come back to reading it again. Hey, Dio, how you doing? So it was always a good idea to have a stable of characters if you were among those who would bring characters around to different games, and if you jumped from game to game to game a lot, it was good to have characters that were of the appropriate level so that you could be ready for any game that was out there. But let's look at Appendix I, Dungeon Dressings. So we took a little quick glance at this the other day. We were looking at air currents and odors, right? Everything's a smell, right? Acrid, chlorine, dank, earthy, manure, metallic, ozone, putrid, rotting vegetation, salty, wet, smoky, stale, fetid, sulfurous, urine. Always add in urine. If it wasn't smelling like urine before the adventurers got there, it sure was after. Oops, they got scared. Breezes. I like the slight damp, gusting, cold current. Downdraft, slight downdraft, strong. Still and very chill, still and warm or hot. Updraft, slight, updraft, strong. Wind, strong and gusting, strong. And moaning. So we move from currents into getting into some sound effects there, which are important. Air, clear, foggy or steamy, foggy near the floor, steamy, hazy dust, hazy smoke, misted. These are all percentage dice rolls, so we were looking through. Was it this? Oh, no, I see. That's right. We were looking through this other. Tricks and Traps had a bunch of tables that we were looking through that are reminding me of these. Look at all this stuff. A lot of broken stuff, I think, is worth pointing out. Or bent. A copper coin bent. Club splintered. Flask cracked. Food scraps. Hammerhead cracked. Helmet badly dented. Iron bar bent and rusted. Javelin head blunt. Pole broken. 5 2/3 foot pole. Not even a 5-foot pole or 10-foot pole. A 5 2/3 foot pole. Pottery shards. Rope rotten. Sack torn. Spike rusted. Sword blade broken. Teeth, fangs scattered. A torch stub. Wax blob candle stub. Wood pieces rotting. And a leather boot. Just one. This is a important to point out that the idea behind this, of course, is that if others have been through this place, there would be shards of their passing left behind. So, too, they would have picked up anything useful. Most likely, unless it was hidden somehow or out of view, or they were in a real hurry trying to get out of there with something running right behind them. And I'm just talking about other adventurers and adventuring groups. Certainly, the wandering monsters aren't going to see a small pouch with some coins in it and not have checked it out and put it in their own belongings and kept it. So, how do they get treasure anyway? One only has to look at adventuring groups to understand how the dungeon finance system works. It's a blood trickling effect. Distribute these items randomly by choice or by dice roll, or place them as desired. An interval of 60 feet or more between each placement is suggested. So you don't want an entire room completely littered with nothing but this stuff and then nothing anywhere else. Put a little thing here, a little thing there. Got a long hallway. Go 30 feet. We run up to the end. What do we look like? You see another 30 feet. We run up to the end. What do we see? See another 30 feet. Put a stub of a torch in there. Put a bent copper coin, a hammerhead cracked, lying around. Not exactly every 60 feet, but somewhere along in there. And they don't have to see it in the distance either, because there's dust and rubble. You should be describing this sort of thing. That there are, unless it's pristine for some reason, there should be dust and little rocks and broken chunks off of the wall and fallen on the ground. And amongst that stuff, you could put a bent copper coin. Maybe this is why it has escaped notice. It could be that the orcs that went through here would turn their porcine nose up at a bent copper coin, but it could very well be that they just did not see it. They didn't dig through the rubble. Unexplained sounds and weird noises. It says at the bottom, select noises as desired. Locate in 20 to 40 foot areas for detection. Have at least 120 foot intervals between each. Well, obviously, if you've got a sound that is persistent, like a sound of wind, maybe it's intermittent, but more likely it's a continuous sort of a rising and lowering air current sound. But here they have bang, slam, bellow, ing, a bong, kind of like a gong but smaller, buzzing, chanting, chiming, chirping, clanking, clashing, clicking, coughing, creaking, drumming, footsteps ahead, approaching, behind, receding, to the side, giggling, faint, gong, larger than a bong, grating, groaning, grunting, hissing, hooting, a horn or trumpeting sound, howling, humming, jingling, knocking, laughter, moaning, murmuring, music, rattling, ringing, a roar, ing, rustling, scratching, scrabbling, screaming, scuffling, shuffling, slithering, snapping, sneezing, sobbing, splashing, splintering, squeaking, squealing, tapping, thud, thumping, tingling, twanging, whining, whispering, whistling. So all of this stuff needs to be explained, at least in your own mind. So when you add these things in there, you're going to get ideas. You can't help it, right? Stuff is going to pop into your head about why there's a sobbing. Well, there must be somebody nearby who's injured or captured or in danger, lost. They may be alone. They might not be alone. Certainly, if they're sobbing, they would have attracted the attention of anybody going past, not just the adventurers. Maybe they just began sobbing. Maybe they fell down a slide. Maybe you need to add a slide into your dungeon in this area that comes from above. The old Sweeney Todd barber chair. Ch-chunk. Down you go into the feeding time for the ogres. Feeding time for the Umber Hulk. For whatever is below. Furnishings and appointments. General. Altar, armchair, armoire. Arras. What is an arras? I don't think I've ever heard of an arras. So usually if I see something I don't remember or know, I just open up a Google search engine and type define arras. A rich tapestry typically hung on the walls of a room or used to conceal an alcove. And, I don't have my headset on today, so I'm going to have to put it on real quick, because I'm about to hit the pronunciation. There's a little arras. Okay, so they're saying arras rather than arras. There are two R's in there. So that surprises me. But Arris is sometimes confused with Arris, Arris, which is a sharp-edged formed by the meeting of two flat or curved surfaces. Interesting enough. Well, we learned 2 words so far today, and this is good. Slipping back over, we've got a bag, a barrel, a bed, a bench, a blanket, a box large, brazier or charcoal, bucket, and let's back that up a second. Brazier and charcoal. So, it could be a brazier with charcoal in it. It could be on the floor. It could be on a stand. It could be mounted on a plinth, some sort of a stone edifice that is there and more permanent than just something you can knock over while you're fencing with someone to kick in front of their deftly jumping around attack posture. But you can have no brazier whatsoever and just have like an indentation in the top of a plinth, which acts as a brazier. It doesn't have to be metal. It can just be stone. You can have a pile of charcoal just on the top of a flat rock surface that's being used as a little fire area, either for lighting or for warmth or whatever. But make those decisions based on the circumstances and surroundings. Bucket. Buffet. Now that must have a different meaning then, or an additional meaning. Maybe it's also buffet, right? A room or counter in a station hotel. See, this is just a food area. A cabinet with shelves. This is strictly the North American. And drawers for keeping. Oh, yeah, sure. Of course. It's like a sideboard, but it's a piece of furniture. I knew that. I'd forgotten it, though. Bunks. Butt, which is a large barrel. Cabinet, candelabrum. Carpet, largish. Cask, chandelier. Charcoal. Chair. Chair padded, padded arm, large, medium, chest of drawers, closet, wardrobe. Coal. Couch crate, cresset. There's another one. The number of things I'm running into today is surprisingly a metal container of oil, grease, wood, or coal burned as a torch and typically mounted on a pole. Oh, that's what those are called. Cresset. Very good. All right, there you go. Cupboard, cushion, dais, desk, fireplace, and wood. Fireplace with mantle. Firkin. Oh, yeah, here we go. Boom, 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 boom. A small cask formerly used for liquids, butter, or fish. A firkin. Fountain, fresco, grindstone, hamper, hassock. What is a hassock? How long has it been since I have heard or seen these words? I know it's been a while since I've looked at dungeon dressings. An upholstered footstool or ottoman. Hogshead, idol, largish. Keg, loam, that's loom. Mat, mattress, pail, painting, pallet, pedestal, pegs, pillow, pipe, which is a large cask. Quilt, rug, small, medium. Rushes, sack, sconce on the wall, screen, sheet shelf, shrine, sideboard, sofa, staff, normal, stand, statue, stool, high, stool, normal, table, large, long, low, round, small, and trestle, tapestry, throne, trunk, tub, tun, urn, wall basin, and font, wood billets, and workbench. Those are the furnishings and appointments, generally speaking. There's religious artifacts or articles and furnishings. We've got torture chamber furnishings, magic user furnishings. Do we furnish our magic user now? Assuming they mean a room that he might occupy, he or she. General description of container contents. So you've got bone chunks, crystals, paste, pellets, splinters, oil, liquid, all of these various things. Miscellaneous utensils and personal items. Soap, spoon, cologne, coffer, bottle, pan, jug, kettle, knife, just a whole pile of miscellaneous things. Not a bad thing to fill in someone's pockets also, or to have slipping around in the backpack along with the gold and whatever other treasure you happen to find. Hey, Lexfire. Clothing and footwear. And again, all of these are D100 tables. Jewelry and items typically bejeweled. Medals and medallions, buckles and coffers and coronets, decanters, all sorts of items there. So if you are handing out jewelry and not just gems, be sure to pop over to this table and do a little percentage die roll to see what it looks like. Food and drink. This is all stuff that can be on a table in a kitchen or dining room, or be carried around by somebody who is, let's just say that the eggs are hard boiled. Nuts, pickles, plums, condiments and seasonings, garlic, herbs, mustard, pepper, salt, and vinegar. Pretty simple. No cinnamon? Add it. Write it in the margin, I dare you. Jot it down. Make a longer list of spices and stuff that's in your world. It will make the world interesting. Tables will help fill in businesses as well, and you find in town, villages, cities. Indeed. If you're going to be in a tavern, there should be all sorts of this stuff laying around. Then it moves on to Appendix J. Herbs, spices, etc. But not until after the chamber room and other space list, which I guess is still part of Appendix I. Antechamber, chapel, refectory. So you've got names for all sorts of spaces, which is good. It doesn't hurt to name a place. If the place was built, then it was built to some purpose. Nobody puts in that much effort just randomly putting rooms and corridors together. So any space in a place that was built has some purpose. So too, a place that is occupied that is natural, like caverns and caves. You'll find too that those spaces that are in there have been designated for various things, whether they've become a shrine or they become a sleeping quarters, or a smaller room off of the main sleeping quarters becomes the quarters of a leader, because he likes to have all his minions between him and any danger, so that he has a warning, a system whereby he can be defended. So there you go. Appendix I. Pretty sweet. Lots of stuff. Trophy room museum. Water closet. A toilet. It's on the list here. You might not see them in a lot of dungeons that are designed. Appendix J. Herbs, spices, medicinal vegetables. We may need to spend some time with this one of these weeks. That's pretty long, too. K. Describing magical substances. This is fun. This adds a level of depth to your game that a lot of people would not easily come to mind for a lot of people. Just the colors alone for the various substances could make things interesting. Different types of blue and green and orange. Conjured animals, we talked about that last time as we were going through a little bit. Before Appendix I, the dungeon dressings, we had done the tricks and traps, right? Then we get back into a gambling appendix. We may want to look at that at something, although it's a little more campaign specific. Depends on the games. I don't want it to be suggested that I'm teaching people to gamble. But there are plenty of games that can be played that don't necessarily mean they're about gambling. Alphabetical monster listings. Very useful. Flipping through. Tells you the source. Doesn't it? I thought it did. Anyway, they're all there. Well, I'll tell you, clock on the wall tells me it's getting a little late. So we should probably get going anyway. I will say thank you very much for those of you following the channel. Lexfire, I've got you in. Disability Overload, you're in for week 25, so you're all set there. Are we experiencing technical difficulty? No. I have this screen at the ready all the time. It's for technical difficulty. Notice that the fellow has both fallen off his ass and landed on his ass. That's comedy. That's old school comedy, my friend. In any event, we'll check out the schedule. Oh, you didn't see that. Yeah, I wasn't on that screen yet. There it is. Falling off his ass and on his ass. Get it? All right. We belabored the joke. Let's look at the schedule. Tomorrow, campaign discussion, GMing tips on Thursday. We've got building adventures on Friday. GM reviews on Saturday. Rules retrospective on Sunday. Weekly news and announcements on Monday. Then back around to cartography and world building. I'm really going to have to make an effort to get some cartography into this again because it's been too long. I will say, if you're also watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe to the channel and do me a favor, giving us a thumbs up. And if you feel you have some constructive criticism or a comment such to make, then please do give us the comment in the comment section where it would fit so nicely on YouTube. I want to thank everybody who's checking out the show. We're here tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. and every day. The OK Grognard Show from beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Bye-bye.